I'm Nirmal Rajaratnam, Director of AOS Security and Applications. Today I'm going to be talking about security across hybrid workforce. So, if you're a global customer or a specific location person, do you have only people working from home or any of those cases, the challenges seem to be very common with the whole migration of applications and data to the cloud, and with the flexibility of users working from anywhere, as well as with that comes in a lot of new challenges because you don't have a set type of network. So, those are the typical challenges that you have to go through, and with the post pandemic we have situations where people are continuing to work from home. So, if I take any standard operation, so you are going to see that a user, you are going to have to identify the user who is going to get onboarded or logged on to a network or to the device, which could be a laptop or mobile device, or in cases of IoT there is no real user, you are actually getting that devices onto the network. So, this is your typical common transaction no matter where you are coming from. So, if you look at this, if I have to identify and see who you are, what device you are using, which network should I admit you into. So, you have to think about a security standpoint where I have to do some kind of a single sign on or authentication and authorization for the user, irrespective of if you are a corporate user or a guest user or whichever type of user you are. So, that will give you the identity of the user. In addition to that, once you know the user, they are going to get logged onto the device. So, now you need to know the device itself. So, you have to identify the posture, you have to fingerprint and see what type of device it is, do I know about this device, who owns this device, where did it come from, what operating system is running, what are the applications on that device, all that information has to be taken care. Once you have identified the user and the device, now you have two aspects of it that you know, and now you are going to admit that user into the network with the device. So, this is where role based aspect of it, where we consider user plus device posture to figure out where should I locate this user onto the network. And this is where you can think about the VLAN association, or in cases where you do not have VLAN, like cases of working from home or from a branch or even a remote situation, you do not necessarily have a VLAN. So, you have to figure out how do I admit that user into this network. So, this applies in a traditional LAN environment, whether it is wired or wireless, where you have to consider this. So, this is what I call as a regular network transaction, irrespective of where you are coming from. Now, because of all these variations, you cannot expect all of your security to be contained or restricted into this specific boundary, because everything have moved to the cloud. So, for example, if you think about Office 365, Google, Salesforce, or some of the common consumer applications, or any URL for that matter, which is sitting outside, or even in cases like where if you are coming from other places, you may be hosting corporate applications into your data center. So, you still have to figure out how to get that to them. So, you have to look at this transaction, what I call as as once this admittance has happened, you are going to have to figure out transaction happening from that location to your destinations. So, it could go through the cloud to other applications, or maybe going through the cloud or directly from here to your data center. So, here you have to apply different policies, which are network policies, applications policies, as well as user and device specific policies, where you have to take all this information, use that telemetry to figure out what is actually happening. In certain cases, when you are crossing the boundary from a LAN over the WAN, using or leveraging the advantages of your SD-WAN, with a combination of your cloud security, you have the opportunity to delegate some of your security to cloud, the cloud security vendors, where they can provide certain advanced security functions like sandboxing and things of that nature, where they apply those security functions, which will bring certain level of visibility and enforcement to these systems in your whole environment. So, if you think about what are we really solving, irrespective of where you are coming from, whether you are working from home or using applications and data in multiple different locations, we can seamlessly provide you same visibility because of all the telemetry, because of the information that we are capturing. From a user standpoint, you look at cloud auth or you can look at ClearPass from a device posture assessment, or Client Insight for your telemetry aspect of it, which will give you that visibility. Now, combining the VLAN or VXLAN based tagging and other role based situations, actually we can figure out the dynamic segmentation, which will not only look at the static aspect of it. As the user and device moves around, those things are taken into account and gives you that same level of segmentation without necessarily using VLAN specifically. You can use the role aspect of it, and because you can come from all over the place, irrespective of where you are coming from, you can have a common security policy that is used within your framework of your campus or your perimeter, as well as crossing the perimeter using your cloud security integrations. That will give you the overall secure access service edge aspects of it with a combination of zero trust security. Hope that was helpful. Thank you for listening to me.